Hey, Candy here. So today I want to talk about the juicy topic of when you're dating, when is it a good time to tell your new person your past, what you've been through. So I'm just going to share my experience, what I did. For me, so I came out of a 12-year relationship and I started dating, I think it was about 7 months later. And for me, that was a very intuitive process. I felt the call to go on Tinder, and I was literally on there for 2 weeks before I met Craig. So I was very lucky. It was quite a quick process for me. But for me, I was quite scared. I was afraid. The dating process felt quite confronting for me because I'd been in a long-term relationship for most of my adult life. And so for me, it was, I think, our third date when I said, okay, I'm just going to be fully open and I want to share with you what I've been through because I'm going to need to take this whole process slow. And, if that's going to be a problem, if that's an issue, then I'd rather kind of establish that early on in the game. And I'm not saying that, you should do this. What I'm saying is that you should feel into what is right for you and to be discerning based on the person that you are with. For me, I felt very safe on an emotional level to open up to Craig quite early on in the relationship. And so I felt safe to share what I had been through, and for that to allow a deeper understanding for each other. So I opened up and shared where I had been, and then he opened up and shared his journey as well, and that allowed us to really deeply understand each other, where each other were at, and to constantly check in with each other around what pace we were both happy to move at, and to move through some of those layers when you're opening yourself up after being hurt again. So be discerning. Check in with the person that I'm not saying like on your first date, be like, hey, so by the way, this is all my stuff. Don't do that. What I am saying is if it's someone that you feel like this, you want to get to know them, you want to explore this path together, but you just want to be transparent about where you're at, then open up and be honest and share where you're at, because for the right person, that's not a threat. You're not damaged goods. In fact, it's more about vulnerability and opening. And this was something really interesting for me, was that, Craig said to me, the fact that you're open and honest with where you're at and what you've been through actually made him feel safer in opening up, because he knew where I was at, rather than guessing, rather than, if I needed space, wondering if it was about him, rather than me just saying like, look, I need to take this slow because this is what I've been through. And so it allowed us to be really transparent the whole way along the process, which actually built more safety, more vulnerability, and more strength in our relationship as we moved through that process together. So the other thing I also want to add in here is that don't expect to be healed before you're ready to start dating again, because a huge piece of the healing comes when you start a new relationship. And so we learn through contrast. So for me, a lot of layers came out when I started dating again, and I started seeing the difference between, a really unhealthy relationship and what a healthy relationship looks like, because I hadn't really had that before. And so a lot more came out, and there was a lot of healing that happened in the new relationship. So allow somebody else to create that healing, that opportunity for healing for you, because really a healthy relationship is a sacred space to grow together, to heal together. And I will just add in here that you're not expecting the other person to heal you. You're taking responsibility for your own journey, where you've been and what you still need to move through, but allowing that other person to kind of, in a loving way, show these pieces of yourself that are ready and willing to be held differently, to be understood, and to be let go of with deep compassion and love. So there you go. I hope you find that helpful. I'm sending you loads of love, and I will see you again soon. Namaste.